It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Steph, how are you?
Hey, Gary, I am good. How are you?
I'm excited and nervous at the same time. I don't know if you've gone online and felt, so what we're talking about is we're both going to ISE, to Barcelona, and it's a lot of work to travel internationally. Now, have you gone on and traveled? Have you gone on and filled out your 72 hours before and 48 hours before stuff, all that kind of stuff is due?
Not yet. I filled out the first half of the thing, and I think it sends me an email like when it's ready for me to fill out. But yeah, so everyone traveling to ISE, we've got some travel tips if you are traveling from the United States, because there are just like some different rules and regulations that that like have come to light, and we just want to let everyone know so that you're prepared. So to travel to ISE for a conference like this, if you're traveling from the United States, Barcelona,
anywhere from outside the country, actually, of Spain. Yeah.
You are not considered fully vaccinated unless you have a booster, or if you recently became vaccinated, your last like regular vaccine has to have been administered fewer than 270 days ago. But if you're not boosted and you like need to go get it, your booster is considered valid from the day you get it. So you're good if you like need to go get your booster this week so that you can go. But that just wasn't something that like I think it was common knowledge, because I no one's really talking about that. So I just wanted everyone to like be clear. And then you also like through the Spain's health website, you have to fill out a questionnaire. You have to do part of it like ahead of time, and then part of it 72 hours before you leave, and then you get a QR code, and then you show that to get through the border. And I think is that it, Gary, or are there more things that you have to do?
Yeah, and then go back to your own country. You have to do whatever your country requires you to do. So,
yes.
By the way, this is rAVe TV. What comes to you live every Wednesday at noon Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time, but it's all around the world. We're coming to you on ravepubs.com. We're coming to you on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And this is Steph Beckett and Gary K coming to you live. We're both at home, working from home.
Yes, working from the home.
Trying to stay clear of people to make sure that we can get to ISE and stay healthy just in case, because you do have to have a test and you have to be vaccinated and all that kind of stuff. And just being careful.
To get back to the United States from Barcelona, you have to take a COVID test no more than 24 hours before your flight. So that also, but on ISE's website, they are really great about naming all of the testing centers and all of the places that you can get that done, like places around the convention center. Yeah. So they're very good about giving that information.
And the airlines too. It's good. But, we don't know how many people are going to come, certainly from North America, but there's definitely going to be a lot of Europeans at ISE. This is going to be a very regional show this year, this ISE show. And I've noticed the show floor every day, a few more exhibitors drop off. They're still expecting somewhere around 700 exhibitors there, which will still make it a big show. If they do have that many, it should be about the size of Infocom a couple of years ago. But we've got a microsite. We're taking a whole pile of people. We're making sure that we cover the show like we normally do. So we'll be there with all of our reporters going to every booth on the show floor, shooting product videos. So you can see all of our coverage, by the way, at ravepubs.com/ISE 2022. But what are your expectations for ISE, Steph? What do you think?
So I wrote a little bit about that, and they had a press briefing a couple of weeks ago, and it was very useful. They just gave a lot of information about, at the time they were expecting about 800 exhibitors, and that's gone down a little bit, but it's still going to be a very big show. I think they're using around 45,000 meters of show floor space at this new area. And a lot of the makeup of attendees, of course, it's all who we're expecting. It's all who mostly attends every year. It's about 80% integrators, installers, distributors, resellers, and only about 20% are considered like end users or purchasers. So the makeup is very, very average and a lot of what we're used to at ISE. But yeah, they're going to have 2 really great keynotes that I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing. And like in some other notable information, so I know that there have been a lot of questions around ISE about the war that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. And so during the press briefing, Mike said that there are not going to be Russian exhibitors this year, but they're not barring Russian attendees from coming. So just to be clear about that on what ISE is allowing and not allowing.
Yeah, so obviously the pandemic is still scaring a few people away, and then I think the location being Barcelona is going to be, we just don't know what to expect. But we do have a microsite on our website. So if you go to arraypubs.com/ISE 2022, Steph is aggregating from the whole team all of our ISE news there, and we already have a couple of hundred stories up there. This is where we'll post all of our videos again. raypubs.com/ISE 2022. This is where we'll post all the videos. And we don't just, unlike the other publications, we do not just go and shoot videos of just the sponsoring companies. We shoot videos of every booth on the show floor every year. The last time we were at ISE, we shot almost 1,600 videos. So we will definitely shoot videos at every booth on the show floor this year.
Yep. I even have a shooter section. Gary, did you know that?
You have a what?
I'm even covering a section. I'm video shooting as well.
Oh, good.
Between everything else.
So Steph will be reporting, video shooting, and keeping track of everyone's schedule. But yeah, I'm
woman
excited
of many
to be
talents. Yeah,
so,
it's going to be great.
So rAVe TV, we are now a little over a year old, and we could not be doing what we're doing without a couple of awesome sponsors. First off, thanks to Shure for this amazing microphone here. As you can tell, this is why I sound so good, because I keep this microphone everywhere I go, and that's why I sound. Yeah. I get a lot of compliments on why is it even when I'm traveling I sound so good. And this gentleman who's going to join us here, Chris Lyons, can tell you exactly why I sound so good. So let's pop Chris on and say hello. Chris, how are you doing? Are you out there? Are you in the ether of our land here?
Here I am in the green room, and glad to be here. And don't sell yourself short. You've got that professional broadcaster voice. That's
I do not. I do not.
It's
I hate
all
my
in the
voice.
Delivery.
I hate my voice, believe it or not, as much as I talk, because people are shocked when they hear that. But let me tell you, the microphone's amazing. Shure has been a phenomenal. You've done a great job not only educating us, but educating our viewers, and we sort of not just your products, but your positioning, your differentiation in the market, and with your acquisition of STEM and all the things you've done recently, you've really grabbed a lot of attention in the UCC market, UNC market. Chris, by the way, are you able to go to ISE?
No, I won't be going to ISE. Our European team is going to be handling that show. There will be probably a handful of people from the States there, but mostly it'll be our, people from UK and Germany and Belgium and so forth.
Well, I want to thank you personally for 1 year of partnering with us on this. We're excited to be joining in year 2. We've got a lot of new features. In fact, we have in addition to Chris, we have a special guest coming on. We're going to do that more often. We're excited with the audience we've built over the last 12, 13 months. I'm very excited with where we've come in the last 6 months, especially because we're doing so many neat new things. But Chris, I want to ask you, what's the latest? Because there's a lot going on. You've got some new, I just wrote a story about how you have some new features and functions in your MXA series. And so tell us what's going on.
Yeah, and it's perfect timing with ISE because we're introducing a new microphone called the MXA 920 ceiling array microphone. This replaces the MXA 910, which I'm sure all of your listeners are pretty familiar with because it's been real successful in the market for quite some time now. The 920 does everything that the 910 can do and better and faster and easier. So first of all, you see there a picture of it. First of all, it comes in 2 shapes, square and round. So depending on the design of your ceiling, a lot of rooms don't have a drop ceiling anymore. And a round microphone might just be a little bit more, compatible with the styling of the room. So that's something new. The real big news is the array engine, the architecture under the hood has been completely redone and upgraded and performs better, sounds better, more directional at low frequencies. But the real news is actually from feedback we got from installers around the world who said, I'd like this to be faster and easier to install. So with the 920, it's preset to cover a 30 by 30 foot area right out of the box. If that's not right for your room, if you want to limit the coverage to certain spots, you just use our designer software to draw some rectangles so that the microphone knows where are people sitting or where are they standing, where are the areas that you want to cover. You just outline those with a rectangle, and then the microphone figures out the rest. You don't have to aim a lobe, you don't have to select narrow, medium, wide, none of that stuff. You just say they're over here and they're over there, and it does it all on autopilot from there on. So it's super simple and fast, and it really works great.
So, obviously the 910 is, I would say a standard in a lot of rooms. The 920, you mentioned sort of like the drawing tool or the specification tool. That sounds a lot like what I saw in STEM and what they were putting together in the pre-design phase. Have you sort of integrated that, or is this a different version of that software? Is this new? What is this?
Yeah, this is a different version of that. It's not directly related to the STEM, but the more we talk to people who are installing rooms, the one consistent theme is I've got some places where people are talking and other places where there isn't anybody. And so there's no sense wasting coverage on that. And on top of that, some places are more important than others, like maybe somebody at a podium or a teaching station at the front of the room might be even more important than students in seats or in a training room or whatever. So you can even put different kinds of pickup areas there, so that you've got a dedicated one on a podium, and then what we call a dynamic coverage area, where the microphone will fine-tune the coverage by itself depending on where people are. Because in some rooms it might seat 30 people, but for one meeting, there might only be 8 or 10 people there. So the microphone knows that, hey, if there's nobody sitting on the right side of the room, I'm not going to waste any coverage over there because there isn't anyone. So
has the DSP
really automated?
There's some obviously automation and AI in that. Has it gotten better in the last few years, or has it always been that good? It's just that we're doing a better job tuning it and using it, or is it just getting better?
It's actually getting better, and we figured out how to tweak the algorithms both to make the pickup more directional and more full range, because with array microphones, low frequencies are always the most challenging, and also to make it more dynamic. We used to rely on the installer to say, point the mic where the person is, but now the microphone can actually sense, is somebody a little off to the left or a little to the right, or do I need to, move over here or something? So it can basically move by itself to figure out where people are.
Okay. And is it scanning the room like every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or is it just literally all the time?
All the time.
Okay, that's cool. So I want to show the two versions of it, because I want to make sure people see that there's two different versions. So let's pop up those pictures. The first, in this case, you've got a ceiling tile mount system that obviously can replace a 2x2 tile or be mounted up inside of a ceiling. You can see that that's the square. That's a 2x2, right?
Right. That's the standard one. That's a drop-in replacement for the 910. And by the way, if anybody out there is thinking, oh my gosh, I've got a bid that requires a 910 and I can't substitute. If you turn off the automatic coverage in a 920, it reverts to being a 910. So you get exactly everything you had, same mounting accessories, same dimensions, everything.
And then we have the round one.
Then the round one comes in 3 colors. You can get an accessory kit to pole mount it, or wire rope mount it, or mount it on a threaded rod. Whatever fits into the room, you can make it work that way. But the round is really attractive in real life.
And the pickup pattern obviously is going to depend on how high you're mounting it and how tall your ceiling is, and so on and so forth.
But you don't even have to set that. It automatically adapts to the height of the room as well.
Okay.
And by the way, if you're integrating this with a camera tracking system, What's really cool is the 910 would tell you which lobe is active, which is useful to guide your camera tracking system. But the 920 actually gives you coordinates for where the talker's face really is. Regardless of how it's distributing lobes to pick up the audio, it tells you specifically where is the talker. So that localization data can help your camera system actually do close-ups if that's what you want.
One last question, because I know we got a show to finish here, but I want to actually ask you about the possibility, and maybe I'm not using the right term, of opening up your API so that camera companies can actually use that technology. Like, have you thought about making that open so that other companies can access it and build products that are designed specifically around the 920 series?
Yeah, we've been talking about that. We're already discussing with some of the leading camera control system companies about how to make a 920 a seamless plug and play operation with their system, so that you just say, hey, I'm using a 920, and then it knows how to read all the commands and so forth.
Right.
So we want to get to that point where it's so completely brainless that all you got to do is click something with the mouse and it'll automatically happen. But I think we're moving in that direction where we want it to be as seamlessly interoperable with anything you might be using.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate the education. It's amazing how, audio's been, AV starts with A. The audio has been around for 100 plus years. And yet it keeps getting better, and the technology just keeps getting better. And now that's what we just talked about, is a great example of connecting A and V together and really building a seamless system. So I think there's a lot more to come. Sure, obviously, as a booth at or what they call stands in Europe over at ISE, we'll make sure that we cover all this. In fact, Chris, I don't know if you knew this, we're doing rAVe TV live in your stand at ISE. So next week we'll be coming to you live from the Shore stand at ISE. We're excited to be doing that. Steph, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, lovely. It's good to have you on, Chris. So I don't know if everyone is aware, but rAVe we're open for nominations for our 11th annual Reader's Choice Awards. And I just wanted to bring this up because we do not charge for nominations. We do not charge for you to vote for who you want. Like, these are completely reader submitted, reader voted, and we really, really care about what you guys think. So even if there are just a few products that you can think of that have really just stood out to you in AV this year, we want to know what those are. We want to know what has really, really meant a lot to you in our industry. So please go to ravepubs.com, and it's right on the front page, and you can vote for nominate all of your favorite products and manufacturers and etc. And the schedule is also on there so that you can know when nominations close, when voting opens, and we will present the awards at InfoComm this year. So just wanted to make sure everyone is aware of that.
And there's a couple things about that, because Steph mentioned there's no other publication that has awards that the manufacturers don't have to pay for. Like in ours, they don't pay. They get nominated and they get voted on. There's no fee. So they're not buying an award like they are with a lot of other awards out there. But the second thing is, this is a two-step process. You, the viewers, and you, the readers, are the ones nominating the products. We don't even seed the nomination. So you nominate the products. We take the top 3, 4, or 5, depending on the category. A category like UCC is very popular. We're going to take the top 5 nominations, put those products out there, and let you vote on which one you think is the best. So we award it based on your votes. You're the one that decide everything, and we'll make those announcements in it. So like I said, 2 steps. We're in step 1 now, nominations. So anyone can nominate anything they want. And then step 2 is the voting process. Right. Steph, thanks for talking about that. And we are proud of the fact that we are a publication that does not charge for awards. And, that's a big deal for me, because I don't think it's fair. I think it's unethical to charge for awards.
Well, yeah. And I think that the best awards are the ones that come from the people, right? Like, I don't even really like the Oscars or the Golden Globes in terms of movies. I like the People's Choice Awards so much better, because I think it means so much more to have a movie or anything like that's chosen by the people who are using it or watching it, etc. So I think it's
don't
really
get me started on the Oscars. Today is Star Wars Day, by the way, for those of you out there who are Star Wars fans like me. I don't know how many of you have Star Wars tattoos on your body, but any case, today is Star Wars Day, and Star Wars, which, for like 20 years was the highest grossing movie ever. The year it came out in 1977 blew everybody away and didn't win the Academy Award. These Oscars, they're elite. Awards like this are elitist, and I don't appreciate them. But anyway.
Anyway,
happy Star Wars Day, Steph.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
So I just want to super briefly, just bring up the Sharp and Sharp NEC next generation of Aquos board interactive displays.
Yep.
Gary, tell me a little bit about these. These are cool.
Well, interesting. One could argue that Sharp invented the category of collaboration boards. A company like Avocor is the only company that was a company that just does collaboration boards. Mm-hmm. But Sharp kind of invented the category with the Aquos series years and years ago. We used to call them interactive whiteboards, but then we added UC tools to them, collaboration tools. So they're now all called collaboration boards. Well, Sharp was the first one. And they are the first one that really made theirs truly, interactive. They have, I know this is going to be controversial because there are some really good writing technology where you touch your pen or your finger to the board and it writes really well. I don't know that anyone has topped Sharp's in the Aquos. It is incredible. And it is almost, I don't know what the delay is, but the delay is so small that you can't see it. And there's a lot of cases where you're writing something like this and you can actually see it write itself after you write it. And you don't see that on this. So they've always led in that part. What Sharp has done in this series with the partnership with NEC is they up the ante a little bit. This is an all-in-one, but you can also use third-party products. You can use, for example, the Sharp products, the Shure products we just talked about, the 920 series, because you can connect them and make it the microphone system for this, and it works seamlessly together. And so, this is the first output of the joint company, and I think you're going to see a lot more products from both these companies.
Oh, I agree for sure. And speaking of a lot of companies, another one of our sponsors, partners that we're very grateful for is Legrand Av. And so this is a glue company. They've got a lot of brands under the Legrand umbrella, and we are going to show you a little bit more about Daylight. So check this out.
Thank you for calling Daylight, where we're passionate about screens even at 3 a.m. How may we help you?
Hey, Karen. This is Rachel with Acme Integrated Solutions.
Oh, hi, Rachel.
Hi. Bad news. The Glacier Sanctuary has stopped construction indefinitely, so the screen installation is on hold.
Oh, no. Why are they stopping?
I guess Antarctica has a bright season. It's going to be light out 24 hours a day for months. I know your HD progressive screens work well with controlled light conditions, but there is no way they can handle the constant punishing sun of the South Pole. And since no modern professional environment can exist without high-quality projection screens,
show them we care.
Saving glaciers will have to wait.
Tell my children we tried.
Hi, guys.
I know I should be used to that now, but it is very scary.
Look, there's no need to shut down. We have Parallax Alr Screens.
Yes! ALR?
Ambient light rejection. Technology that can handle oodles of ambient light situations. Even a situation called the sun.
Karen, I know daylight screens are the best, but this isn't just the sun. This is the sun all the time.
It's no problem.
Big problem. With sun all the time, reflecting off snow all the time, won't it be brighter all the time?
Well, it will be brighter, but... Our Parallax surfaces are designed to preserve high-contrast images in the brightest of environments, even the all-the-time ones.
But that's just brightness. What about glare? Once our glass dome is finished, it'll basically be a giant prism, spewing sun lasers from every direction. Glare will be everywhere. There'll be no escape!
There will be an escape because Parallax screens are not TVs. They reject and absorb light so there's no glare.
And they make Parallax screens big enough for glaciers?
She's right. That's way too small.
Parallax screens come in seamless sizes up to 16 feet tall.
Perfect.
Oh, no.
Look, see for yourself.
It's beautiful.
It's Parallax.
Hey, we're back.
Hey,
We went
are
we
back.
went black for a second. It just like
Yeah,
disappeared,
I
and
was like,
I was like, "Where are we?" But anyway, we
weird.
got a special guest, do we not, Steph?
yeah. So we were talking about wanting to give our blog squad more of a forum on here. So Michael Katz, welcome.
Thank you.
You were talking today about an article you recently wrote for us. So you were talking about successful digital signage for trade shows. And the trade show that you were talking about was not necessarily one that you would think to associate with AV. So tell me a little bit about that.
Right. So I went to the New York Auto Show, the Javits Center, because my car's lease is up in February. So I figure a few months in advance, look at some cars, be efficient, right? Only spend maybe an hour or so. So 4 hours later, after meeting with some people, and you have to read the article to understand what I'm referring to, I had an unbelievable experience in digital signage, in what's called ultrasonic sensing, which I'd never heard of before. And I was amazed by the technology, and some of it was very seamless. So people, in fact, one of the pictures I have here, you see people kind of talking to each other, not even realizing they're standing on a gigantic video wall. They don't even realize it. They think it's just a floor. And then there's, in this picture I'm looking at, there's a rotating stage that's also a video wall. And then behind it is two video walls that open up with a third video wall behind it. So it's like a seamless image. And there's other things I talk about, but it was just amazing.
Switch to me and you'll see it.
Yeah, it was amazing how it was all integrated. And one of the things I found out was they had a pretty large crew that worked 5 straight days to set this up, specifically in the Subaru environment. It wasn't even a booth. It was just part of, big part of the floor.
It's a tech. I mean, we've been talking about this a little bit, Steph, as part of XR technology used in Hollywood. But in this case, Michael, they used it as their exhibit space and LED floor, LED walls, and you could even do an LED ceiling, which immerses you in the environment. And I love this image from Subaru because this is sort of like right on brand for them to show sort of this outdoor adventure-ish style kind of view. And it is amazing. And, you wonder, like, I think that XR is going to light a fire under a lot of creators, because even you could do this with meeting rooms. I mean, imagine going into a meeting room and all of a sudden you're immersed in the meeting, regardless of where that person who's joined the meeting is. Or imagine being a C-suite presenter and being able to pull and being able to take a presenter and put them in a room where the people are as if they're really in the room with them, and makes them feel more comfortable presenting than presenting in front of a camera. All due respect to all the camera companies out there, because that immersion makes for reality.
Well, there's also a video of how it works on the story page. Yeah, so one of us can try to play that really quick. But
and I took all these pictures. Sorry, I took all these pictures and videos from my camera. So they didn't send it to me. I took them when I was there.
Yeah, there you go. You could see the car coming out of the stage.
Yeah, see the car. Like, that's crazy. That is wild, I think, for like a temporary install that's for a show. Like, that is absolutely bonkers, but very cool. And Michael, they used like other like sensory things too, right? They had like smells and like were really like appealing to multiple senses in this booth, right?
Yep. In the one of the pictures is of the cave. So in the cave, you have different types of AV. You have this this mechanism on the floor that's hidden from actual vegetation, by the way, live vegetation there, that pumps out. And I said in the article, there's 3 types. It was spinach, wet grass, and butcher shop. So they combined the 3. And I was coincidentally in Iceland in 2019, and that's what a cave smells like. I was in a cave in Iceland. I'm telling you, that's what it smelled like exactly. And it was just.
I'm getting notes of butcher shop.
So butcher shop is a smell of meat. So in a cave, like out in the open, you don't know, animals are there and they smell like animals.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
so
cool.
the other thing was Kia Motors had a little tiny, like an individual exhibit that people would walk by, and the person I was with, took us over there and showed us this sensor, and basically it's using ultrasonic, that right there, and when you put your hand, left hand, right hand, 12 inches from the sensor, it activates and it senses and has a pulse that hits your hand, and then the display, which is about 8 feet away, shows your hand, and then you can manipulate the images on the display.
So it's gesture recognition.
It's gesture, but it works really well and instantly. There's no delay. Like as you're doing this here with your hand, it's coming up on the screen again about 8 feet away. It was amazing.
All right, Steph, we got to figure out who did this for Kia, for Subaru.
It says it in the article.
There you go. There you go, Michael. You said who the integrators were?
It was actually a design company, EWI, and I spoke to them after.
Okay, yeah.
And very, very helpful and very
They're an
appreciative.
experiential company. They're
Yes.
a great example of an experiential company in our industry. And I think interestingly enough, a lot of digital signage gets done by that segment of the industry. And we don't really, that's more on the ad side. That's more the advertising, experiential advertising side than what we call the AV side. And I think that's a big part of the future of our market is experiential companies and us communicating with them, because I think a lot of cases agencies don't know what you can do, right? They don't even know. So I think this is a great review. I appreciate you doing that, Michael, and we really appreciate what you do for us, writing for us, and helping us as someone who's actually doing this stuff professionally.
I appreciate that too.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So Michael Katz, you can read all his blogs by just going to ravepubs.com, go to the blog squad site, and we don't have time to talk about this, Steph, but there's one your install of the week. You're going to miss it this week. It's North Carolina State University. Their library is pretty amazing. It's famous, and we don't have time to talk about it, but you should check it out at ravepubs.com. It's really cool.
Extron did an install there with their controlling and switching to that's an old library. I talked to my friend who went to State, and she was like, oh, like this was really needing like a lot of AV updates. She was like,
and if you look, they're projecting on the table. They're projecting on the table with those Epson projectors, and it's all interactive content on those tables. So you should check that space out. And you're right, that's a really old library, and they updated it with tech, right? Tech can make the difference.
Oh, it's very cool. Yeah. So my friend Hannah was like, oh, like I'm so glad they updated this. That's so cool. She works for State now, actually. So I told her to go check it out and see everything that Extron did in there. So for all of the stories that we talked about today, you can catch them all at ravepubs.com. Thank you so much. Next week, Gary and I will
be live
from Barcelona. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah,
Barcelona. Yeah. So we will.
The first warm ISE in history.
I know, praise. I'm so excited about it. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.